You know, it's funny. You think about something like heartburn, and for so many of us, it's just normal.
Oh, absolutely. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
the price you pay for a good meal or that extra cup of coffee.
Exactly. You pop an antacid and just assume, oh, it was the pizza. But it's almost never just the pizza, is it?
Rarely. And when you actually look at what's happening inside the body,
Mm-hmm.
well, it's less like a little indigestion and more like a chemical battle.
A battle that, if it goes on long enough, causes the body to do something kind of incredible, but also really dangerous.
A classic case of a survival instinct backfiring. We're talking about Barrett's esophagus.
And for our deep dive today, we're not just skimming articles, we are going straight to the source, a fantastic video lecture by Dr. G.S. Raju.
Right, it's his guide to the pathology of Barrett's, and what's great is that he literally takes us on a tour down an endoscope.
So our mission today is to learn to see what he sees. How does a doctor tell the difference between a normal esophagus, a hernia, and Barrett's? Because it turns out it involves some surprisingly precise math.
It's all about geography and geometry, really, mapping the internal landscape.
Okay, so let's start with the patient. Dr. Raju gives this sort of textbook profile of who gets Barrett's.
He does. And if you're a med student, you've had this drilled into your head. The classic case is a white male, 50s, probably overweight, heavy smoker, drinker. That's the stereotype.
That's the box they check, but then he immediately pivots to his actual case study.
And she breaks the mold completely.
That's a female patient.
A female patient, yeah. She is a heavy smoker, but the really key factor for her is a family history of Barrett's.
Which feels like such a crucial point. We get so locked into these profiles that we might ignore symptoms if we don't fit them.
Exactly. Biology doesn't always read the textbook. Chronic reflux and family history are massive signals, no matter who you are.
Okay, let's get visual. As we're going down the scope with Dr. Raju, he talks about two distinct areas, the pink area and the beefy red area.
Beefy red is, believe it or not, a pretty standard medical term.
It's very descriptive.
It is. So the normal esophagus, the pink area, is what's called squamous lining. Think of it like the skin inside your cheek. It's smooth, pale, and really delicate.
It's just a transport tube. It's not meant for storage.
Precisely. The stomach, though, that's the beefy red part. It's columnar lining, it's rugged, it's dark, and it's built to swim in acid all day.
An acid tank.
Right, so when you have chronic reflux, that acid is constantly splashing up out of the tank and into the delicate pink tube. It's a constant chemical burn.
So the body has to adapt.
It panics, in a way. It says, okay, this pink stuff isn't working. We need armor. So it starts replacing the burned-out pink cells with the tough, beefy red stomach cells.
It literally terraforms the esophagus.
That's the perfect way to put it. It extends the stomach lining upwards to protect itself.
Which, on the surface, sounds like a good thing. Like, it solves the problem.
So the short term, yes. The patient might even feel less heartburn because that new tissue doesn't have the same nerve endings. But the problem is that new tissue, that armor, is unstable.
And unstable cells are what can lead to cancer.
That's the double-edged sword. You solve the burn, but you create a long-term risk.
Okay, so we're looking for red where it should be pink.
Yeah.
But when I was watching the video, I mean, it's all kind of a wet, shiny tube. How do they know where they are?
That's where the landmarks come in. This is the geography part. You need fist points to navigate. Dr. Raju highlights 3 of them.
All right, landmark number 1, the Z line.
The squamocolumnar junction, or as he calls it, the zebra line.
Because it's a zigzag.
Exactly. It's the visible border where the pale pink esophageal tissue meets the beefy red stomach tissue. It's just a color boundary.
Okay, pink meets red. Got it. What's landmark 2?
That's the GEJ, or the gastroesophageal junction. Now, this one isn't about color, it's structural.
Yeah.
It's the point where the smooth tube of the esophagus physically ends.
And the stomach begins. But how do you see that if the color has already changed?
You look for the folds. The stomach isn't smooth. It's made of these thick, fleshy ridges. He calls them gastric or rugal folds. It looks like an accordion starting.
So Z-line is the color change. GEJ is the start of the folds.
You got it. And here's the key. In a perfectly healthy person, the Z-line and the GEJ are in the exact same spot. The color changes right where the folds begin.
The road paint changes exactly where the road gets wider. Makes sense.
Perfect analogy. Now, the third landmark is what makes all the math possible. He calls it the pinch.
The diaphragmatic hiatus.
Right. It's the hole in your diaphragm muscle that the esophagus passes through. When you breathe, the muscle squeezes, and on camera, it looks like a ring closing in.
Okay, so we have our 3 points. The color line, the fold line, and the pinch.
And the entire diagnosis of both the hernia and Barrett's comes down to measuring the distance between those 3 points.
This is the part that I just found fascinating. I didn't realize they're basically using a ruler inside you.
Well, the endoscope has markings on it in centimeters, measured from the patient's front teeth. So as they advance the scope, they're calling out the depth. 35 centimeters, 38 centimeters.
Okay, so let's do the math from Dr. Raju's example. This is what made it finally click for me. The difference between a hernia and Barrett's.
They're often related, but they're 2 different problems. So let's say the endoscopist goes down and finds the pinch, the diaphragm, at 40 centimeters.
Okay, pinch at 40. That's our floor.
That's the floor. Then they pull back a little and find the top of the stomach folds, the GEJ. In his example, that's at 37 centimeters.
Wait a minute. So the stomach folds are starting above the pinch.
3 centimeters above it. The top of the stomach has slipped through the hole in the diaphragm and is now sitting inside the chest cavity.
And 40 minus 77 is 3? That is a 3-centimeter hiatal hernia.
That's the hernia. It's a
Yeah.
mechanical problem. The stomach is in the wrong place.
Okay, so that's the hernia solved. Now, where does the Barrett's calculation come in?
So we stay at the folds at 37 centimeters. Now we just look for the color change, the Z line. In a normal person, that Z line should be right there with the folds.
Right, at 37.
But in this patient, Dr. Raju finds the Z line where the beefy red begins all the way up at 34 centimeters.
Whoa. So the red tissue has crept another 3 centimeters up the tube from where the stomach is supposed to start.
Precisely. So you take the folds at 37, subtract the color line at 34, and you get 3 centimeters of Barrett's esophagus.
So this one patient has a 3-centimeter hernia and 3 centimeters of Barrett's.
And very often you do. The hernia causes the acid reflux, which then causes the Barrett's. It's a domino effect, but the math lets you diagnose each one separately.
It's so clean when you lay it out. Pinch minus folds is hernia. Folds minus color is Barrett's.
It takes all the guesswork out of it.
But is it ever really that clean? I mean, biology isn't usually a perfect circle.
Rarely. And that leads to what Dr. Raju calls the advanced geometry, the Prague classification.
This sounded like a secret code when I heard it. C3M4, like you're playing Battleship.
It's not far off. It's basically a coordinate system to describe the shape of the damage, because the red tissue doesn't just rise up evenly like a tide.
Right, he mentioned it forms these tongues.
Yeah, these little fingers of red tissue that shoot up higher than the rest of it. So the Prague system uses 2 numbers, C and M, to capture that irregular shape.
C is for circumferential.
Yes, that's the length of the segment where the red tissue goes all the way around the tube, a full 360-degree circle. In our example, that was from 37 centimeters to 34 centimeters, so that's C3.
Okay, C3, but then what's the M?
The M is for maximum extent. Let's say one of those tongues licks all the way up to 33 centimeters.
Okay, so a bit higher than the rest of the ring.
You measure from the folds at 37 to the absolute highest tip of that tongue at 33. The difference is 4.
So you'd write down C3M4.
Exactly. And any gastroenterologist anywhere in the world can read that and know there's a 3-centimeter ring of Barrett's with a maximum 4-centimeter tongue. It's a universal language.
Why is that level of detail so important? Does it change the treatment?
It's all about risk stratification. A C3M4 is called short segment Barrett's. But if you had, say, a C8M10, that's long segment.
And I'm guessing long segment is worse.
Generally, yes. It's a matter of surface area. The more abnormal tissue you have, the more statistical chances there are for one of those cells to go rogue and turn cancerous.
Which brings us to the big one, cancer. Dr. Raju is very clear. He calls Barrett's a pre-cancerous condition.
He does.
And I have to say, if a doctor told me I had anything pre-cancerous, I would immediately panic. It sounds like a time bomb.
It's a terrifying phrase.
Yeah.
But this is where he offers a huge dose of reassurance. He says the number of people who actually progress to cancer is, and I'm quoting him here, very, very, very small.
3 varies.
3 varies. The vast, vast majority of people with Barrett's will live their whole lives and die of something else entirely. It's a risk factor, not a death sentence.
But the risk isn't 0, so they have to watch it.
They have to do surveillance. And this is the final piece of the puzzle,
Yeah.
the biopsy protocol. Because you can't see the earliest cancer cells just by looking. You need a microscope.
So they have to take samples. And it's not just a random snip.
No, it's a very systematic hunt. He describes taking biopsies from 4 quadrants, like 12 o'clock, 3, 6, and 9 on a clock face.
North, south, east, west.
Exactly. And they do that every 2 centimeters, all the way up the length of the Barrett's segment.
Wow. So on a long segment, say 10 centimeters long, you're talking 4 biopsies every 2 centimeters. That's 20 samples.
At least. And if the cells already show signs of looking a little weird, a condition called dysplasia, they'll do it every single centimeter. It can be 40 or more biopsies.
That is an incredible amount of work.
It is, but they're searching for a needle in a haystack. They're trying to find that one tiny cluster of cells that's starting to turn bad before it ever becomes a tumor. Catch it then, and it's an easy fix.
So it's really about turning this scary, mysterious condition into a manageable, data-driven process.
That's the entire goal of modern surveillance.
You know, it really reframes the whole idea of heartburn. We started there with this simple annoyance, and we've ended here with this understanding that the feeling of heartburn is actually a signal that your body is actively re-engineering itself.
It's rewriting its own code to survive in an environment it was never designed for.
And that adaptation, that solution, creates its own long-term problem. I mean, it's a fascinating trade-off.
It really is. It's evolution in miniature. The body will always prioritize surviving today over worrying about what might happen in 20 years.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? At what point does a survival mechanism become a liability? The body fixes the burn but opens the door to cancer risk. You have to wonder where else in life we make those same kinds of trades.
That's a deep question. Sometimes the cure can become its own kind of problem down the line.
Well, the next time you feel that burn after a big meal, you can think about the incredible geometry and geography lesson happening inside your own chest.
Or, maybe just skip the third slice of pizza.
A fair point. We really do recommend you check out Dr. Raju's original video. Seeing the visuals of the beefy red next to the pale pink, it makes it all click.
It's an absolute masterclass in endoscopy. Really amazing stuff.
Thanks for going down the tube with us on this deep dive.
Stay curious.